I'm working on this sleeve, which has a different yarn every 2 rounds, periodically with a band of gray yarn, a wider band of gray yarn. And I'm getting ready to knead this color, and I'm going to start working with this blue at the end of round or beginning of round marker. So to prepare myself, I'm going to go ahead and weave in the end for that yarn before I get to the end of round. So I'll stop a little ways away from the end of round and I'll start to weave in that end. And this is how I do it. So I go into the stitch like I'm going to knit, and then I will wrap this this yarn over my needle. So the tail is over here. I'll leave a little bit of a tail, and of course this yarn here is going to the source of yarn. Then I will take the yarn that I'm going to keep working with and knit a stitch. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to bring my needle under that yarn that I'm weaving in. And when I complete the stitch, I now have that tail started to be woven in, right? So there's the first little bit. So the next stitch I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I bring this working yarn over the yarn that I'm trapping. And it's weaving in. Then I'm going to bring my needle under that yarn that I'm weaving in. It's just, this needle goes under and over every other stitch. So there it's under that yarn that's being woven in. And then it's over the yarn that's being woven in. And I will do that until I get to my end of round marker. And so here is my last stitch of this gray color for now. I will slip my marker, and then I'll let go of that gray yarn, pick up this blue, and start working my round using this blue yarn. I got a few stitches here worked. So I can show you how that end is woven in. So here's the tail. It's all woven in all along here. And I am ready to continue my 2 rounds using this blue yarn. So I'm going to finish those, and then I'm going to show you how I weave in the end at the very end. I'm getting closer to the end of round marker, and when I reach that marker, I will be changing back from this blue yarn, which is my 2 round stripe, back to the gray, which is the wider stripe in this project. So here I am just finishing up my last couple stitches. Okay, so here's my end of round marker. I'm going to slip that, and now it's time to start working with the gray again. So I'm going to bring this blue yarn over to my left hand. I'm going to work my gray yarn. I'm going to start working this next round, and while I do that, I'm going to also weave in the end here. So I'm going to knit a plain stitch. This is just like locked floats. It is locked floats. Under the yarn that I'm trapping, and then over the yarn like normal, just a normal stitch. And then I need to lock this yarn, weave it in, and then up over, and then under again. I can do, 5 or 6 or whatever I'm comfortable with. And this blue yarn is, the tail is woven in. So now I can just break this off. Here we go. So I'm just gonna continue to knit using this gray for my round. And so what does that mean? That means that the beginning and the end of the round, this tail is woven in before I began using the blue. And then after I did my 2 rounds of blue, I wove in this other tail. And that leaves me with a stripe that is a 2-round stripe, but no ends left to weave in because it's all done. I'm going to keep working on my project. Hope that is useful.